Pregame.com.
Tuesday, December 20th, the St. Petersburg Bowl. Boy, these names, all these different bowls, VR, I don't know how we keep track of them all. We've got Florida International versus Marshall. I'm Marco D'Angelo. I'm joined by Vegas Runner. We're going to break down this game. VR, tell me who you like and why.
All right, this one's at Tropicana Field in Florida, but this will prove to college football, to ESPN, that if it wasn't for sports betting, people would not watch as much as they do, because there's going to be very little interest in watching Florida International take on Marshall. This could be held in St. Petersburg, Russia, instead of Florida. I mean, you know, let's tell it like it is. But I think you could find a winner in this game. I like the favorite, and I know early on you want to look towards the dog in the early bowls. But in this case, I think there's a lot of reasons to like the favorites. Number one, they're playing close to home. You know, there's always that added incentive. You're asking for more tickets. You know, you got family, you got friends. So there's a big advantage there for Florida International. But more importantly, they're playing one of the worst road teams in college football, and that's Marshall. They've lost 9 of their last 12 against the spread on the road the last 2 years. And let's face it, I don't think they've been favorites much in those games. No. Now, you know, they're a dog of only 4 points because Florida International plays in the Sun Belt. Otherwise, I think they'd be getting a lot more, especially when you lose your starting quarterback like they have. They've lost A.J. Graham. I know this true freshman, Cato, has played a little bit throughout the season because Graham's been banged up. But from what I've seen, this kid's not ready to take over this team, especially in a bowl game with a weak defense where you're going to need your offense to show up. They're 101 in college football in total defense, 101 in total offense, 86th in total defense. Wow. This is a weak Marshall team. I like Florida International.
Well, I don't have anything on this one. The one concern that I have with Florida International, and that you pointed out, is an advantage. And I look at things differently a little bit. To me, and especially in these early bowls, the bowls to these teams, this is a reward.
Sure.
Okay. Now, Florida International, if this was their first bowl, then they would be excited about wherever they were. But they were in a bowl last year.
Yeah, and they won.
They won as an underdog. Now they're going to a bowl for the second year in a row, and for your prize or your reward for a good season,
you get the Thunder and Herd at home.
You're getting to stay in Florida. So I think that for teams around the country going to Florida, that's a bigger deal. It's wintertime. You're going to warm weather. Sure. That's a reward. But when you live there all the time, is that really a reward for these teams? So I'm a little bit concerned about motivation on the Florida International side. Marshall is a team, yes, they're not a good team. That's why they're in this bowl.
Yeah, and barely made it at 6-6.
Right, but they did win their way in. A lot of times with these early bowl games, you've got to look and say, okay, is the participant happy that they're here, or are they disappointed they're here? Well, the fact that they had to win the last Saturday to be eligible, I would have to say you're happy to be here because you went out there and won that last game to get you here. So those are my only concerns with it.
No, and they make sense. The thing that I don't like about Marshall is, you get a lot of recreational bettors that are going to be betting for the first time for the bowls. Mm-hmm. You get an influx of that kind of money. And I think what they're going to see is a Marshall team that beat Southern Miss, who beat Houston, and ruined their undefeated season. They beat Louisville, who is the co-Big East champ. So, it looks like Marshall's got some big wins on their record. And here they are as a 4-point dog against a nobody. And that's the only reason. And for Florida International, you got to remember, this is a team that has just been in Division I for a couple of years now. And this head coach, Mario Cristobal, he seems to have instilled, we're going to be a good Sun Belt team. I don't think he's going to stay in this team long. I think he's going to move on to bigger and better things.
Let's face it, Sun Belt Conference is a stepping stone for coaches.
But I think he'll have these team ready. The only thing I fear with the Marshall motivation side is head coach Doc Holliday, second year, is from Florida. He recruits heavy in his home state. A lot of these kids from Marshall are going back home. That's the only thing that worries me. Other than that, I think the value's on the favorite.
And if you recruit strongly in Florida, there's no better place
to show up. Exactly. That's the
Because-
only thing that I'm hesitant and I haven't fired yet.
You know, because if they got some blue chip recruits that they're trying to get, you know they're going to send them an invitation. to
Come watch us play.
and-
Exactly. And that's why I think there's some early sharp money on the dog. I mean, this line opened 4.5. It's down to 4. And, you know, the betting action from the public probably going to be split. So sharp money tends to disagree with me in this spot. I just can't make myself bet Marshall. And sometimes those are the best bets, you know?
You can. And the one thing that we will say is that for bowl games, just like we talk about the last week of the regular season of college football when you have all the rivalry games, sometimes you have to set the stats aside.
Yeah. Motivation is the number one thing to look at. I agree.
And so we're taping on Thursday. This game's being played, next Tuesday. So we got some time here. You know, I don't have anything yet. You're right now on the Florida International side. You want to give us a projected score?
I think this will be a lower scoring. Florida International has a great offense, but, they don't play good caliber competition. This is a slight step up for them. So I think it'll be lower scoring than most expect. I could see this being Florida International 24-14, one of those kind of low scoring early bowl games.
Hey, this is one of the early bowls, and there are a ton of bowl games. And guys, let me tell you, there's a lot of guys at Pregame Pros, great records this college season, good history in the bowls, VR, myself, all of the guys at Pregame Pros. Check it out. Go to the homepage because we've got up the bowl packages right now. They're at the cheapest price you can get them. Take advantage. Get
Join
your
the
favorite
party, baby. Join
get your
the party.
favorite capper. This way you don't miss anything. You're there for all the big plays and the last minute add-ons. And that's the thing with the bowl games. There's going to be those last minute suspensions.
For sure.
Kids are going to go out and get stupid, get suspended off the team. You want to have a guy on your side that's going to be there in the trenches and not miss anything for you. It's the holiday season. It's easy to miss these things, but that's what we do. So check it out. Find your favorite capper, somebody you're confident with, and ride them. Check out those bowl packages. We're going to be back with more videos. We've got a lot of bowl action, and stay tuned to pregame.tv.